Welcome to Life, Laughter, Divorce Podcast, episode 83. I am your host, Leanne Linsky.
And I'm the boyfriend.
Welcome back to another wonderful week of divorce. We are excited to be here.
So I think every week for now on until the end of time is a wonderful week of divorce.
Yes.
Yes.
In case you hadn't picked that up. Yes, it is.
Okay. All right.
It is. And hey, while you're tuning in, as long as you're not driving, make sure you stop, rate, review, and subscribe. We want to hear from you. And while you're out there not driving, check out the web at lifelaughterdivorce.com because we have an online store with really cool self-care items like handcrafted soaps and candles, all divorce themes for your bathing pleasure, and candles for those zen-like moments or even romantic moments you may be hoping to have. So check all those out because they're handcrafted here in Long Beach, California. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're quite nice. The boyfriend uses them.
Yes, he does.
That's right. And there's other good stuff happening on the website, like life coaching. Check it out. I'm giving away one free life coaching per person in the entire world, it sounds like. I have some life coaching sessions. Check it out under the life coaching tab. Schedule your session with me now. I'd love to talk. I'd love to hear what's going on with you and see where you're going this next year. And boyfriend.
Leanne.
Speaking of where you're going next year, or speaking,
I have no idea where I'm going next year.
This is true. This is true. So like the move is about over.
Yes.
And we're settling in.
Yes.
Just kind of moving some things around here and there and everything. But if you had known like a year ago where you would be today, would you have guessed this?
No.
But if you think
lots of life changes have happened over this past year for both of us.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fortunately, no children. That's not in the mix. Whew, dodge that bullet. So nothing wrong with kids. We love children. It's just that ship has pretty much sailed for me at this point. So, hey, here's the thing. I'm wondering, boyfriend, like, so neither of us had any idea at the beginning of this year, like this is where we would be in our lives and everything, because we've had so many crazy, unexpected things happen. But like 5 years ago, I wouldn't have even have guessed that I would be living in California because I was still living in New York, right?
5 years ago, I was hoping to be gone and out of California by now.
But here we are. So when you think about that, like even in those short spans of time, I mean, we don't even know where we're going to be in 6 months, but when you think about that, it's like, wow, so much can happen and so much can change. But thinking back to like our childhood, when you were little and you think about like what you wanted to be or where you wanted to be when you grew up, whatever the picture was in your mind, did you picture this to be it?
No, I did not. This would not be where I would expect to be located or career-wise or anything right now.
So, okay. So when you say that though, did you have higher... Okay, so I don't want to say higher expectations for yourself because then if you're like, yeah, and then here I am with you, I would feel bad. So I won't ask you that. But when you think about it, when we're kids, we only know what's in front of us. We only know like what our parents do. We only know about like the people in their lives around us, of what people are capable of.
Yeah, our worlds are pretty small at that point.
Yeah. And so when we think about it, or maybe we know what we see on TV, right? Like, right. So we're kind of influenced by that. But also when you think of like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, you know, for a long time, I thought I was either going to be a mom or the president, both equally important jobs.
But both things that you were exposed to. You saw your mom, and I'm sure you saw the president on TV or whatever. So things that you were aware of. Right.
So neither of which things came to fruition in my life. But yeah, I mean, to me, both of those were super important jobs, and I would have been happy to have either one, frankly. But that wasn't the direction that I went. And, you know, as I got older, doors opened up. Like I would never, ever have even considered the entertainment business, but it was actually my, my college advisor who said, well, this came about after I had to do a presentation in international marketing. And long story short, I ended up speaking Pig Latin. Everybody else, like if their country that they were doing it on was in France, and they would speak French. And another person, if they were doing their project on Germany, they were speaking German, like in their intro. And so I was next up, and I was like, I don't know whatever country it was I had. So I spoke Pig Latin, and everybody, when I rattled off a sentence in Pig Latin, everybody was like, oh, interesting. I wonder what country she has. And then I was like, Pig Latin, I don't know. German. And at that point, my college professor, who happened to be my advisor at the time, he just put his head down in his desk.
I could see that.
and he was like, what am I going to do with
Rolled
you?
his eyes, shaked his head.
But everybody was dying laughing. I mean, I got a great laugh out of it. But anyway, afterward, when I had a meeting with him about like where I should be applying for jobs and where I should go, he was like, I really see you in the entertainment business. And no lie, he actually introduced me to someone who is like the manager for the McGuire sisters or something like that. So off I went. But I hadn't even considered anything like that until then.
Till someone
else suggested it, you know? And then like I think about the teachers and stuff I had it back in grade school, and was there any one particular person who really had any influence over me? And I can't say that really, not as much as that. So I'm wondering, what kind of influence did people around you have? Like, were there mentors or teachers who made an impact?
I had mentors and teachers. My dad was a teacher, so that sort of was impactful to me because I saw the work that he did and the way the students looked up to him. But as I was going through my education through high school, I had teachers. This is interesting, and I don't know how many of you out there had these kinds of relationships with your teachers, but I had a teacher back when I was in elementary school that I stayed in contact with and that I actually visited with after high school. And I had a high school teacher that it was the same way when I was in college, and I would come back and visit that specific high school teacher because they had an impact on me. They showed me, they went out of their way. Well, it felt like to me, they went out of their way to give me some great career and life advice to become a better person and to be prepared as I got older and entered into a career. So these were very important people to me, and I think everyone should have those kinds of people in their lives.
Yeah. And what if you didn't, though? How different our lives would be.
I could make a crass joke, and I'm not going to do that right now, but
right. No,
I don't know.
But I'm thinking about, okay, we were fortunate and we both had our parents, right? We had both parents. Each of us had both parents in the home.
Correct.
And so my mom stayed at home and was there for me after school and that kind of thing. So I had a lot of guidance and someone to go to. But there's a lot of kids, and we talked to a lot of people on this podcast who were children of divorce and their parents were split and they didn't always have a go-to person. But what about all of those kids who don't have someone to look up to or don't have a parent to go to for guidance? Or, in another instance, I was one of the first kids on one side of my family to go to college. So there was a lot I didn't know, and that made a difference because I wasn't heavily influenced in like, oh, you have to go to college, because that wasn't done all the time. So if you don't come from that, it's not on the forefront of your mind.
But so what I think you're saying is that the role models that we have when we grow up they can be influential. They are influential in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. They are. And and that's why this guest that we have this week, I think, is very special, and what she's doing is so important and so key in our communities, because she's actually going out there and providing knowledge that you don't get unless you have those people in your life. So you have a go-to, you have someone to look up to, you have someone who's going to suggest things that would never have popped into your brain because it just isn't in your world.
Like a true guidance counselor, but not really a counselor, but
like, it's almost like offering you all those skills that you need to know in life, but you never get in school.
Yeah, because school is reading, writing, arithmetic now.
And this is life
and
skills.
This is life skills.
So I'm real excited about our guest this week because she's doing really remarkable things. She is a wife, a mother, and the founder of a nonprofit called Love Beyond Limits. Her name is Maleka Chris, and I can't wait for you to meet her. Without further ado. Maleka, welcome to Life, Laughter, Divorce podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure. And boyfriend is here too.
Hi.
Hey. So this is an exciting podcast because Maleka, I've known you for a couple of years, but I don't know you.
Well,
right?
Let's get to know me.
Yeah, let's get to know Maleka. So I know you've been, you're currently happily married. We should start with that disclaimer, right?
Yes. Let's start there.
And you actually just got married.
I did. Recently. I got married June 23rd. That day was special to me. It's the day my father passed. So I thought I'd give it to the next important guy in my life and make happy memories with it.
Wow. That's very nice. Yeah, congratulations. And I'm sorry about your father.
Thank you.
But wow, what a way to honor him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. They're both good guys.
Yeah. So now you're newlywed.
Yes.
You're newlywed and you left the house today and told your husband, I'm going to go do a podcast about divorce.
Right. And the look on his face was priceless. But we'll talk about it later.
Awesome. So you were married and divorced prior to him.
Yes.
Yeah. You want to tell us about that?
Sure. When did I get married? I got married in 2001. Yeah, November 2001. He's actually two of my daughter's father. He was my brother best friend. I think they still best friends. My brother best friend. So we kind of grew up in the same area around each other, and we took a shot at it, and it didn't work.
And I love the smile on your face as you're telling us this.
But he's a good guy, actually. He's remarried as well. He has a new baby. For the most part, I was young and I didn't understand my duty as a wife. I didn't understand my role as a wife. And when the going got tough, I just bailed out pretty much emotionally first, then physically, and then with the divorce papers. So, I just wasn't ready for the most part. Yeah.
How long were you married to him?
We were together 10 years. We were married 7.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, it was it really was, in my opinion, one of those dysfunctional connections. Our negativity is what brought us together, and that's a hard foundation to build on and stay focused, really. I think I was about 20 when I did get married, and he tried. He really loved me, but with his dysfunction matched my dysfunction, and it just it wasn't a place I knew I would always be. I knew I was growing, and God was using me for certain things, and I was terrified to lose that by following my husband, as being my lead, or having the male role or the husband role. I didn't think that we were going to go good places. So, I tried. I tried all that I knew at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when did that incredibly wise words by saying that the foundation would have been difficult to build upon, when did you realize that? During it, after, in retrospect, sort of hindsight, looking back on it as you grew and improved yourself?
I probably realized it in the middle, and believe it or not, like when people say you see red flags, or you see flags, and then you think you can either love the person through it, or you think that you have enough love in you to cover whatever that is. There was one very specific incident that I remember that was unacceptable to me, and I should have left then, but I was too far in kind of to get out, and I thought that I can just stick it out. And it was more of a moral decision, what irritated me or what made me mad. And then I just kind of held it in the back of my head. So every little thing that happened, that came back up, honestly. So I guess I was never all the way in order to make it work. So
would you say like, so like it sounds to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, but like it's what I'm hearing is like you guys came from the same background in the same area, like you was best friends with your brother, and it seemed like the logical fit.
Right.
But when it came down to it, maybe the like your core beliefs, like your morals and your values didn't line up.
Right, correct. So it seemed like it did. It seemed like it did. Believe it or not, at that time, he was out of the house, obviously, from his mom. I was out of the house. He had 2 siblings incarcerated. I had 2 siblings incarcerated. I had 2 kids. He had 2 kids. We were in like a street life, whatever that looks like to the listener or the viewers. So it matched. But before I had my first kid, we tried this. Not like physically or like dating or anything, but there was the little crush. And then I didn't see him. And when I had my first daughter, I ran into him and he was ready still. And I wasn't, because I was in a relationship. And then we didn't see each other. And then when I had my second daughter, I ran into him again. So I'm believing this is fate.
Right.
Like, you know, maybe this is really meant to be. And he accepted my 2 daughters like his own. My youngest one was 6 months when we actually made an effort to be together. And it was cool. We were the young couple, married, you know, with kids. We stayed over here on 20th and Cerritos. We had a big house, and it seemed like everybody was looking up to us, but that was even more pressure because we had people looking to us, but we didn't have anybody to look to. So we didn't have role models around us. We didn't have married people. When we went through battles or issues, we had to figure it out ourselves, and that usually was over a cocktail that didn't end well.
Right. Well, that's fascinating. Okay, so here you guys were doing good things, right? And everybody was looking up to you and we're like, wow, you're really making the right choices and doing the right things. But the key thing is you didn't have anyone to look to. So neither of you had parents or somebody that you could kind of go to or go-tos or anybody like that.
Not for direction. I mean,
really?
At that time, my parents were both living. Both of my parents passed. But both of my parents were living. His mom and his stepfather, they were there and available, but there was no strong foundation. There was nobody to talk to us. Even the few people that I called when I did have problems, it was like, you don't have to deal with that. Let's go hang out. Like, girl, do you. So it's not the company you need when you're struggling in a marriage and you're young.
Right.
And you have these kids and this responsibility, and it looked beautiful on the outside, but it was hard.
But
right.
as a role model, you needed a role model to help.
Right. Everybody does.
Right.
Everybody does. So it was one of those empty glass things. Like we were pouring into other people, because like literally our house was what they call Big Mama house. It was like a grandmother feel. You can come over there and you can eat anytime and you can bring your kids. It was a safe environment. We playing. The adults are doing adult things. It was a real, nice environment. Trampolines in the back, PlayStations, basketball courts. It was a good place to be, but everybody came needing something. Nobody came really bringing anything. So that was draining.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's really hard. So at what point were you, because being married for 7, together for 10, that's a long time. At what point were you just kind of like, this is it for me?
When I had my first daughter, I was trying to make these drastic changes to be a better person, because I didn't want my kids to be, or to experience the lifestyle that I was accustomed to. So I was always making these small efforts to do better. And then, I would end up back in my comfort zone. So when I had my third daughter, she was born November 27th, and we got married November 2nd. So she had sickle cell and life got real for us. She's in and out of the hospital. She's going through all of this stuff. And again, as young people, we pulling it together. We making it seem like, it's kind of effortless. But that was another struggle. And then he wanted another kid, which I was scared because this one has sickle cell. That's a genetic trait that we gave her to end up with the actual disease. So I didn't want to have another kid. And then when we did, I named her Maleka because I have 4 daughters and I think somebody should have been named after me.
Yeah, why should it just be the boys?
Right. So when I had Maleka, life just got real. I go through that. Like I evolve and life keeps getting real and tragedy happens and you just start seeing life different. There was things that I had to do for my family as far as my grandmother and my parents that he didn't understand. And then he was still like trying to fit in places. I tell him he wanted to be the man instead of a man. So, just being young and trying to hang out. He's a barber. So that was, that's a whole nother lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, just trying to keep up with that and the hustle and bustle of that type of lifestyle. I was slowly drifting at that point. After I had little Maleka, I was slowly drifting into this shell that I go in, which I've stopped doing, but drifting into this shell for me to figure it out. And then when I come out, I just come out swinging like I got it all together.
Right.
It was my defense tactic.
So it's not uncommon. A lot of people go into their shell. Yeah.
It's kind of isolate and reflect and do a lot of inside work and
yes,
shut out the noise kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. So when you did this, does he recognize like this is going on with you or?
Not really. I guess again, it matched some of my other traits. So it looked like she just want to control situations. If it's not her way, then it's the highway. It's his favorite quote. So when it was time to build and be a family, it was like, nah, you just want to control me because he got bought a motorcycle. Like, I'm going to the motorcycle club. And I was like, I was already doing that. The motorcycle club is not the problem. These 4 little people that we trying to be an example for became the real problem. And by now, these little kids are getting bigger. So they notice stuff. And, you can't just do anything and have anything around them. So the first thing I really started doing is kind of shutting down the whole Big Mama house thing. And I lost a lot of friends and family members from that. I got deep into church, started going to church and trying to figure out what it was I was supposed to be doing. Not necessarily about the church, but more of just fellowshipping with people that was trying to go in the same direction. And I just started studying a lot. And there were things that we needed to do and stop doing. And he wasn't willing to do it.
Right. So when you finally approached him on it, were you guys both on the same page? Like, this isn't working, we need to part ways, or?
I think it showed up more like he would hang out and just, go with his friends. We just start going in different directions. And about time we realized that we're in different directions, I would say it was a mutual thing. There was an episode that we definitely knew that, okay, this is not working. There was a mess, and we just agreed like we can't live like this because it was never that. So we didn't have the problem with violence, cheating. We didn't have that. So when we ran into this new episode in life, we were like, okay, this is not gonna work because definitely it's not gonna work with us, and it's not fair to the kids. So we had that conversation about ending it. And we separated, and I think we were separated probably 10 months, and then we got back together. And by then, it was too much done and said, so that didn't work. It lasted probably 3 months, and then we decided to let it go. And then he still was kind of shocked and confused when he got the divorce papers.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you guys have the divorce and I'm hearing from you like you want to be a better role model for your children and things like that. How old were they in this process?
7 years ago. So Terica was 13. Michaela was 12. Jordan was maybe 8 or 9, and the little one was like 4.
Oh, okay. So there's quite a range.
Yeah.
So you say, yeah, so now you guys have parted ways and everything. What changed in your life? What happened once what happened after that separation?
What happened after that? You know what? Life really got crazy for me at that point. So we separated, I want to say in 2007, maybe official in 2008. And then in 2009, in May, my grandmother passed. And then 6 months later, in December 2009, my mom passed. And then June 2010, my dad passed. So I didn't have time to really process a divorce or a separation.
Oh, wow.
I was dealing with life. And I think a lot of people, including him, believe that tragedy I was experiencing, I was supposed to go back with him and we figure it out. And that was just one of my stances that I took, that I wouldn't let life tragedy bring me back to like the same dysfunction, because that's how we started. Like we had all of these things that were going wrong and we tried to get together and make it right. So that didn't make much sense to me. He reached out and tried to be there, but I didn't let him.
Yeah, you weren't ready for it. That's a lot of loss.
Right.
That's a lot of loss in a short time. So here you experienced all these deaths after a divorce, and you have these 4 little ones that you're raising, and not so little ones anymore.
Right.
And how did that? So it sounds like it gave you more empowerment. Like you were like, I'm going to make this work. More determination.
Right. Honestly, I just felt that because of the way life was happening for me and I didn't go crazy, it just made me stronger in my faith. It made me believe that God had a purpose for me, because people lose a cat and lose their mind. And I had to like financially even take care of these situations. So when I looked at it, it just gave me strength. A lot of people were watching me as far as family. They were like, when is she gonna like lose it? And it wasn't that type of situation. I think another one of the biggest things besides God giving me strength is I loved my parents and my grandmother. I took care of them. I did everything that I could while they were here to let them know that I love them. So I didn't have to have like regret and try to live through the obituary and fall out at the funeral, because people do that when they hurting. It hurted because they weren't here, and especially for my girls. But they were sick, so I didn't want to keep seeing them suffer the way that they were suffering, and they weren't fighting either to try to live. So that's what they wanted, and I was okay with that. You have to be okay with how people choose to live and sometimes even die. So that was what kept me strong.
But it's a lot of internal strength in order to hold yourself up, your kids up, and not. I could see it. I'm here thinking, yeah, you'd want to go to something that's familiar, comfortable, to give you some structure in your life or something.
That's temporary relief.
Yeah, but that'd be like going back to him. But you kept yourself strong and held it together for everybody. That's an impressive feat.
Yeah,
because a lot of people don't have that kind of strength or resolve to get through all of that tragedy at one time.
Well, it was definitely not me. It was, God inside of me. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you had moments, where it was hard and everything, of course. But like, at what point did you realize what your purpose was?
I've always wanted to like give back. The main thing was I just didn't want my kids out and about in different places. So I needed to create something at home that, for one, their friends would think I'm cool enough to come, and then they would feel secure and empowered without being overbearing, as a parent. So I just started having kids to come to my house. Like after school, we started working out and going to the beach, doing sports, going to Signal Hill to work out. We did Bible study if that's what they were into. I'm never pushing what I believe on anybody, because I feel like the light will shine through me. And if that's what you want, fine. If not, then, life will work out for you. Then we started doing like tutoring, and I had a few parents that would like cook and bring bring food over. We did like for Valentine's Day, the movie and dinner night, and just different things to keep them busy. Actually, that was the first goal, is to keep them busy and put some responsible adults around them, whether they had it at home or not. It was what I was trying to provide.
So did you end up having, with your 4 kids, did all of their friends and stuff gradually just start coming and hanging out at your house again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it was always structured. Like, people used to always say my home was ran like a group home. There was always time for this, time for that. That's just because I'm probably a control freak, and I just need things to operate so that they can learn. Things happen at times. Like, you just can't be wild. So it was pretty structured. And I wanted to open a group home. That was my goal. But when I went to find out the process of that information, they told me I needed to have a nonprofit. And then when I got I didn't know what a nonprofit was, honestly. And then when I found out what a nonprofit was, I was already doing that work. So I just put all of my energy into that. But my favorite movie is Annie. And I don't know what came first, wanting to have a foster home or the movie. I don't know which desire came first, but I want to be a better Miss Hannigan.
That's not a bad thing to be, right? So okay. So when you found out what a nonprofit was, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm already doing this. What did you do? How was the process? You just went and made the nonprofit?
Yes, that was another painful experience, because I had no money and no direction. I didn't know what I was doing. So I asked a few people, and after being let down and understanding that people only move if you have money, I went to the library and got this book, A Nonprofit for Dummies. And
Awesome.
I just started following what it was telling me to do. And then when it came to like filing the papers, there was some rough days, because like you had to pay for parking, and sometimes I went to the wrong building, and it was a process, but it was worth it, because now I have this amazing program, and we're helping a lot of families, and I'm enjoying the journey.
Wow. Okay. So I know what your program is. So do you want to tell us a bit about how you ended up coming up with your name and deciding on what it was going to actually be doing?
Okay. So I started with girls just because I have 4 daughters, and logically that made sense. But I really like boys, and I like sports and football and stuff like that. So I figured at one point I would let the boys in. I just didn't know when. So
when your daughters are old enough, I'm guessing.
Exactly. So I can pay attention to everything.
I see what's going on.
I don't lose sight on, what's happening. But we started it, and actually my last name is Chris now, but my maiden last name is Long. And my 2 older daughters, their last name is Burdine, and my 2 younger daughters' last name is Lassiter. So I wanted to create some type of legacy. So I had the LBL before I came up with the actual name. So I just sat there and tried to figure out what can we do to tell people the mission that we're on. So Love Beyond Limits came from our names, our maiden names. They won't ever change. Even if you get married, they're still maiden names.
Yeah.
So that's where the name came from. And I was just really on a mission to really love beyond limits. Once I came out of all of the anger and pain and dysfunction of, my childhood and my self dysfunction and self-inflicted pain that, I brought on myself, I just didn't want to go back to that. And it's a very dark place when, you want to be by yourself and you think the world is against you and everybody is out to get you. And it's a dark place. So once I was really able to see light, I just wanted to love. One of my parents told me, she said, I think you're addicted to love. And I was like, well, I never really heard that, but maybe I am. I really like to talk to people. I like to meet new people now. That wasn't me. I used to just stay in the back and watch what's going on.
So creating a nonprofit has totally transformed your life.
Yes. The biggest thing is me coming to do stuff like this, or me going to elementary and talk to kids, or me going to junior college to talk to people that's trying to do this field. The more that I talk to people, even though I'm really shy and I don't like to be like in the spotlight, it helps me be accountable. I don't want to tell you something and you see me doing something different. So it's very important for me to walk the talk. Like when I tell people what I'm doing and tell people how I'm living and, telling you how you should better communicate with your kids and do certain stuff. It just makes me, I feel like God gives me the vision, and then I talk to people about it, but it's to fix me first. So that's what I try to do is be very intentional on being the person that I'm trying to show you.
Yeah. What are some of the things that Love Beyond Limits does? I'm aware of some of them because of how I know you and everything. But so when you first started, was it just being able to fund all of the activities and things that you're doing within your community from your home?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything is still probably done the same way. Like I get money and then I figure out what to do with it. Because we don't have grants and stuff yet, but we are looking for grant writers if there's one out there ready to help.
Attention.
Yeah, attention. Oh, look at that. Look at God. See? But yeah, we started at the house, and at that point when I found out, that what the nonprofit was and got it established, I figured that I needed to come out of the house and actually get an office because people needed to take me serious. Came like, yeah, I have all these kids at my house. They like, girl, that's a daycare. So I did get an office in Bixby, and we've been working with, we service Long Beach, Signal Hill, South Central, Compton, and now San Bernardino. South Central and Compton is the areas that I made the worst choices. And I just know that environment and, how to get to the kids and what sunk me into it, and, how to give them information and opportunities to make better choices. So that's why I service those areas. And then my kids obviously are from Long Beach and they went to school in Signal Hill. So I wanted to, give an effort here. And then I published a workbook last November. And when I was promoting it in Ontario, I met a principal that had us to come to 2 continuations in San Bernardino. So we in Long Beach, but we service everybody. We love Beyond Limits, literally.
Yeah,
so
you are.
We don't have the good kids or the bad kids or the college-bound kids. We have all the kids. We have different religions, different races, different ethnic backgrounds. We have a wide variety of kids we serve because they're all the same when you put them together.
Yeah. So you wrote this workbook.
Yes.
And tell me more about the workbook and what you use this tool for.
The workbook it's all about the 13 stones. So the whole program has a foundation, called 13 stones. And I came up with that concept because people throw stones at you, and I just want people to not dodge them, but just accept who you are and build on them. So find out, who you are, your past mistakes, whatever it is, and just let that be a foundation that you build on, opposed to trying to avoid it. And then, so it was things that I felt should have been taught in the home, things I think that, regular families, if that's what you want to call it, they instill these values in their kids, and then they go out into the world and they use them. But some people like me didn't get them. So that's where it came from. I don't know if I can name them all, but it's image, love, respect, social skills, hygiene, meditation, accountability, the role of a mother, father, and child, abuse. I feel like I'm missing 2, but they can go to the website to find out more about those. But it was just really important. Yeah. And even like the role of a mother, father, and child, that's definitely not to teach kids how to be parents. It's just to understand those roles, and in case they switch, in case they're absent, it helps you to better communicate. My oldest daughter, she was very influential when it came to helping with the little kids. But when I got to a point where I understood that I needed to show my appreciation and tell her that this is not her job, she's not their mom, but I do appreciate the help, it makes her feel better, opposed to, oh, she's just making me do stuff or controlling me, or this not fair, these not my problem, and that's what a lot of parents deal with, whether it's a single parent or 2 parents in the household. A lot of the times those roles switch and it becomes confusing. Even with Terica helping at home, when she go to school, she have to go back into the role of a child in order to listen to this teacher and follow rules and authority. So if that's not communicated, it can get really crazy, especially for kids.
That's a very good point, because roles do change.
Yes.
So, and this as you went through your own marriage, your own first marriage, and then not having someone to look to. So when you're working with these kids, what are some of the activities and stuff that you give them? I know in a previous conversation we had, you said a lot of these kids, they don't know that they can they can't see farther than their own backyard,
Right.
because this is the world they know, and they don't know that they can go off and become a doctor or a lawyer, because they don't have that in their vision. Like, they can't see that far.
Right. So we create opportunities. There's a camp that the kids go to in Ojai, and they're there for 4 weeks. They learn computer literacy. They learn leadership, humanities, and they're on campus with kids from Japan, China, Mexico, Vietnam, and Indonesia. And our kids are from Long Beach, Signal Hills, South Central, Compton, and San Bernardino. When you put them all together and they learn about each other, that's an experience that they might never experience again. But it gives them the outlook to see that people love different, people accept you different. There's a lot that the world offers, and you don't have to, stay closed into your environment. You don't have to stay where you are to understand that, because kids will adapt really anywhere you put them, especially if it's a nurturing environment. But even dysfunction, the kid will adapt to that. So it's really important that we open up these opportunities and show them a life outside of theirs. It's really important we get to the parents too, because a lot of mentoring programs, they want to, they take the kids places, they instill value in the kids, and they motivate the kids and inspire them, and then they go back into their home environment, and it could cause more confusion, because if the parent is still struggling or going through whatever they were going through, they might be looking at the kid like, well, I've been trying to tell you to do this for years, and you listen to a stranger. Or, oh, now you think you better than me because you're doing things, and that's not fair, because the very thing you did to try to help a family, you caused more dysfunction. So we communicate with the kids and let them know at all times, your parents or whoever raising you, that's who's in charge of you. That's the person that you love and respect. That's the person, like, don't come respect me and high five me and go home and cuss your parents out. That's crazy. Communicate with your parents, even if your parents are having a bad day. Help your parents out, but effective communication is important. So if you're in trouble, don't go ask your parent, let's talk. Like, can I tell you how I feel? No, you didn't do the dishes and you didn't do your homework. So that's where the parent mind is. So we just try to teach them stuff like that to better communicate, to build those bonds, because kids need their family. No matter how inspiring we are in the public to them, they need the foundation that raised them, and we can really help them all together if we just stop, thinking that we the solution. I don't think I'm the solution to the problem. I think I can help them fix, whatever life is dealing them.
Wow. And what a great concept that you're incorporating how to communicate with parents, because you're absolutely right. Because I learned something today and I go home, that doesn't mean the rest of my family was on that same page. And there's going to be a disconnect if I don't know how to properly re-engage with that, because they're not going to change.
Right. But you're also teaching them respecting your elders, just respecting everyone around you.
Right.
And introducing them to other cultures and other kids from around the world, tells them to respect them and understand them and try to become a part of that, instead of saying, oh, you're from somewhere else, I don't want to see you and you're bad or anything. So that's amazing. We need more of this in the world.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
And I know, so you had mentioned too, at another conversation, and not to bring it up, but you had said a couple of key things that really stuck out to me about what you're doing. And so you mentioned, we're talking about this camp that the kids go off to and everything. And so not all kids, this is a wide variety. It's not just one type of child, like you're dealing with just a lot of different diverse group of people. And so when they go to this camp and there's kids from around the world, like some of them are from like really well-to-do families. Others are from families that, don't have a whole lot, but they're connecting with the same message.
Right. Because kids are very common. Like they have a lot in common. And once you put them in a room together, you'll see it. And a lot of the times, the differences that we have, we just keep pushing that on the kids because they don't really feel like that. We had, I think you're probably talking about one of the young ladies from camp that came from a wealthy family, but her interacting with the kids at camp, she never felt love. She never felt a part of a family. She never felt all of the genuine caring and love that she got when she got to the camp. So our kids, our parents are struggling, they don't have money, they don't have certain stuff, and they just thinking like, if I could just be in a rich family, everything will be okay. And this little girl is letting you know, like, no, I live in Santa Barbara. They have money, they're wealthy, and she don't even think that she matters to her parents. Her parents are working. Like, to be wealthy, you have to establish that. That's understandable, but you still have to communicate with your kid. You still have to be there. You can't just send them to boarding schools and, send them off and have butlers and all of these other people to take care of your kids. It's the same thing as a single mom from South Central struggling with her kid. She's going to work. She's trying to figure it out. And this kid is not only struggling emotionally, they struggling financially. So we have to always be aware that our kids are there. Like, they didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask to be born. There's a lot that you have to parent intentionally. It's not easy. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it's important, and the kids are worth it. And it's not fair when you choose something else, whether it's work or him or her or whatever it is, and you don't tend to your kids. And I'm not saying like just let them take over your life, or you just this overbearing parent where your kid is your best friend. No, but let them know the importance of who they are. And respect is actually one of our stones. So it's accepting differences. That's just our definition of it, accepting differences. Because we come from different places, it doesn't make us different. And even if we don't like the same things, we don't have to be enemies. Even if we're not friends, we don't have to be enemies. We just respect people for who they are, where they came from. And if we can work together and enjoy life together, fine. If we can't, then enjoy life over there while I enjoy life over here. But our kids, they don't see that. Like, it's just always the rolling the eyes, the mad at everybody, blame everybody. This person, this group, they did it. It's their fault. We're this, we're that. No, we're all together. We're all together.
It's a great message.
Yeah,
it is.
A lot of adults need to hear the same message. I'm like, yeah, we need some of that, and it's so cool. How do you incorporate? What is your program like that? How do you incorporate the parents into this?
It's the parent connection. That's what I call it. So basically, it's not, nobody wants to be counseled and nobody wants parenting classes. Like that's not what it is. It's literally a roundtable discussion. The kids are in the conference room. They're doing the workshop, whether somebody is coming in to do it or they having free time, and the parents just get together and put it on the table. Like, what's happening in your house? What's happening in your house? What's working for you? What's not working for you? That's why it was really funny that they reacted to the Facebook post about my 18-year-old asking me, do I want to go on a double date? I guess people don't do that. And I understand, like, maybe teenagers don't do that. Like, little kids or little girls need mom, and then 35-year-olds need mom, but not the 18 to probably 30-year-olds. They doing their own thing, but we communicate a lot. Me and Michaela, that's the daughter that asked me, and we went to the football game and we went to eat. So it was nice, but we talk a lot. Even if there's friction or tension, we communicate. If she have an attitude, I'm the one that say something. If I have an attitude, she the one that say something. We're not perfect. We just want to make progress. And when you want to love people, and when you dealt with all the loss that we dealt with, you learn to cherish moments. You learn to cherish people and not just, hold grudges and be mad and angry because life is not promised. And the last thing I want my kids to do is, for one, I don't want somebody to think I'm cooler than they think I am. Like, love me while I'm here, support me while I'm here, and I do the same thing. Because if something happened, you do not want to be sitting crying, wishing that you could have said something. There is no more time. And a lot of people, that tear their life up. It tear their life up for years. They can't get in relationships. They can't trust anybody. They don't want to love anybody because you could have took your dad to the doctor appointment. You didn't want to, or whatever it is. But you just love people while they're here. We don't have a lot of time to play with. And if not, just stay away from them. Don't be mean. Like,
stop being mean.
Don't be mean. It's easier. And it took me time to get here. Like, I love to hear me, now. But it's a process, and you need something bigger than you in order to pull that off. We all have problems. We all have backgrounds. We all have tragedy. We all have loss. We all have heartbreaks. But so you need something bigger than you in order to build you up to keep dealing with life like that. And it's just so happened I choose Jesus. That's, that's what I chose. And that's what gives me the strength to keep going. And it's working. It's working.
Well, it sounds like
yeah.
it. So
Working very well.
can you tell us about the individual programs? Like you said, you incorporate sports and there's workshops. So what's it like for a kid to come in and be a part of?
Wonderful. So it's just, it depends on what it is. So every stone has its own things going on. So when we talk about image or self-esteem, we're usually talking about how we feel on the inside, how we present ourselves on the outside. It's not about people liking us or us being people pleasers, but it's really about understanding that people work. Well, my example, like someone buys a Lamborghini and they're single and they buy a Lamborghini and then they get all of these women attention and they're like, oh, she just want me for my car. That's exactly what you worked hard to get, the attention. So when we okay with that, then we understand that you want to work hard and you want to be successful and you want to do stuff, because who wants to be around somebody that has nothing? Like, who wants to be around someone not getting good grades? Who wants to be around somebody that just is not happy? So you, as far as self-esteem, you have to build yourself up to be presentable. It's important. You don't have to look like everybody or act like everybody, but you need to be welcoming. My mother used to say, don't let somebody hate to see you coming. Like, that's not cool,
right?
Yeah. Soon as they turn to the corner and you there, they're like, oh, here she come. No, yeah. I don't want people to feel like that.
Right. So
each stone has its own thing. When we talk about education, we talk about colleges, we talk about entrepreneurship. Our education definition is learning from any and everywhere, learning from all aspects of life. So you can learn from a family. Maybe you see a family that's together. You see traits that you want. You see things that mom do that you want to be like. You see sports that the kids do or whatever it is. You pick that stuff up and you put it in your toolbox and you pull it out when the time is right. Under our meditation stone, that's not like sitting and meditating. It's what you continue to put in your ears and eyes is what you'll be. So understand that when you meditating on this music or you meditating on these shows or whatever it is, don't be trying to figure out why you popping off in class or why you cussing out girls because you watch Bad Girl Club for 9 months straight every day. Right. So, stuff like that is important. Again, I talked about the roles and love. I am a firm believer that love does not hurt. People say love hurts. I don't believe that. Losing love, abusive love, that hurts, but not the genuine concept of love. So we talk about that. Accountability is the biggest one. That's our biggest stone. That's the first one I usually bring out to any group because we all have struggles. You can't go through life blaming people. At some point, I got grown and I had kids, and it was no longer fair that I blame my mom for not giving me what I needed or blame my dad for leaving or whatever it was. And that's why I'm a parent raggedy. That's why I'm going to just do half a job. I almost cussed.
It's okay.
I did half of a job because I didn't get it. No, that's not fair. You're accountable. You do what you're supposed to do. You do the right thing and you take your problems, you take whatever life has dealt you and you make it a better, make yourself a better person opposed to making that what you blame everything on. What other stone? Abuse. We talk about abuse, which is important. We actually don't spend a lot of time on abuse because we try to stay on the happy stones, but abuse is very important. And it's not just about physical abuse or sexual abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse. Understand when somebody is talking to you crazy all the time, you don't have to stay in that environment. That's not cool. And then on the token of the parents, if your parents are, talking to you in a negative form, when they not talking to you in a negative form is when you should address that and try to get them to understand that it does hurt. It's not people say stuff and it doesn't matter. Yeah, because you hear the kids all the time, I don't care what they say. I don't care what they say. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You do. And be okay with that. Be okay with that and process it. So we want to process their emotions, process their thoughts so they can make better actions.
Yeah.
That's about.
So do you do all of these? So when you do activities, you get together and you have like group discussions and activities based on those topics
Yes.
and those kind of things. And then where do these things take place? Do they, now they're no longer necessarily all out of your home. You have an office, but
Yes.
do you go to schools or?
Yes. So we've worked with Signal Hill Elementary. We had 2 fourth grade classes, and we had a 5th grade class that we did for 3 years. I actually had a 2nd grade class at that school. There's a continuation in South Central called YOU, Youth Opportunities Unlimited. That's actually a school I graduated from. So I was there for 3 years doing the workshops. And when I do the workshops, again, I don't have all the answers. So I bring people in. When we did our image and self-esteem over there, we had a lady to come in and do hair and makeup to show them, like, you know, this is a school look, this is an interview look, I guess y'all club, so this is the club look. So we want to just, you know, instill all of those values in them. When we went to San Bernardino and did our role of a father, I had 5 fathers. We had a chiropractor, a rapper, a guy that he does a few things. He worked with human trafficking, but he also is an R&B artist. Then we had my husband actually was on the panel, and we talked to these girls about the role of a father. Now, it's a really safe environment because if these guys have ever let their kids down, they're not here. So you can be open. If these young ladies, you know, are brokenhearted because of their father, they're not here. So you can express that. And then we actually had boys in there, but it was a very good outcome. Like, it was, they learned a lot. Even the dads learned a lot about how they really felt about their fathers. And there was a part where we asked the dads to apologize to a broken child, whether you broke a child or, you know, you just apologize. And some of the young ladies were like, they just wanted to talk to their dad and take some pressure off of him because they were expecting things from him that they didn't know. It was more from the mom. So they didn't even know how to be okay with their dad fathering the way that he was fathering because these guys came in there and said the same thing. So it was a really good experience. So that's what we do. I brought a entrepreneur. She has a roofing company. So she talking to the kids about how she came over here in the trunk of a car, and now she's legal now. But she went through all of this torment and a lot of abuse growing up, and she owns her whole company and doing very well. So we bring all of that in. We just bring more opportunities. The more opportunities, the more people from different walks of life that you put in front of these kids, the more opportunity they have to really become the person they're supposed to be and not the people they see around them.
Yeah. Remarkable. And you have something, boyfriend?
No, I'm just amazed because this is missing. It's missing from today's, like you said, parents are busy. They're out there working. They don't provide these life skills to kids, and you are. This is impressive because kids come in and they don't know what to wear, how they should be in the classroom. They don't know these things, but you're providing it to them at a young age so they can present themselves and respect their elders and respect everybody. And it's just, I don't know, it's just life skills that everyone needs to have, and it could make the world a much better place.
Yeah.
And most people don't get them.
No.
And it doesn't matter where you're from. Most kids don't get them today.
And what a great concept to bring in actual dads talking to young women about the role of a father. Because, I mean, who's ever had a conversation like that? I certainly haven't. Like, no. You don't get, that's something you just don't get, but we need. And the other really cool thing that I'm hearing is like, you open the conversation, you open the door for all of these conversations to happen. And then kids suddenly can ask these questions, and you don't know what you don't know. And suddenly you bring in all of these things so that they can see with their own eyes and ears, like, here's this remarkable woman who wasn't even from this country, came here in a trunk of a car of all things, and now she owns a roofing company. Like, that's something that kids need to see, because what they see on TV is the Kardashians who, like, I don't know how whatever, but like, it's stuff that's not the norm. It's not normal. And I think we get stuck in like what it should be like based on movies or what we see on TV or something that's created out of someone's imagination versus what's actually real. And real people do amazing things all of the time. And I don't think kids have the opportunity to see that. So what you're doing is such a gift.
It's providing them the information through role models, through education, through teaching, through experiences, through everything to prepare them for life.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it happens on this part of our life. Like, it happens when we're grown. But why not help them when they're actually experiencing it?
Yeah. Why do you want to have to wait until you're 40
Well, if you start them
old?
earlier, just imagine what these kids are going to do.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the goal.
So you mentioned you worked with second graders, fourth graders, fifth graders. And like, so what's the youngest that you work with?
Our girls are 7 to 17 and our boys are 12 to 17. So the boys did make it in the program. While on the journey at Signal Hill Elementary, I had about 9 boys to write me a letter. So I was doing the class and it was co-ed. And after the class, I always give the girls an opportunity to join us at the office or, wherever we're doing for different events. And the boys was like, why you never ask us? So I said, write a letter and tell me why. And they said things like, I just want to follow rules. I just want somebody to know that I can be good. I want to learn how to throw a football because I know you can throw a football. There was different things like that. So when you give a kid, you just got to give these kids opportunity. You just got to give them opportunity. And I would love to be able to work more with teachers, understanding the dynamics of the families, and then the parents understanding the struggle of this one person with these 35 people from different places. If we all can have that conversation, we can make the kids more accountable and stop letting them go home and say, my teacher don't like me, and then come back to the school and telling the teacher that my mama said I don't have to listen to you. It happens all the time. These parents give kids license to, go to school and be managed because the roles, the roles. But that's a conversation that the teachers definitely need to have because we need teachers, but we need to support them. I know a lot of teachers catch a headache from administration. They don't even get support there. So when you're not getting supported at the top and then you got these little people at the bottom, it gets very uncomfortable. And I know teachers, I really take my hat off to teachers because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work and you definitely have to be doing it because you care. We just need, again, to have that conversation.
Yeah. Wow. So our listeners are everywhere in the world. And if they want to reach out to you and everything, I want to make sure that we put like all your information in the show notes. We'll be there on our website and when they look at the episode online, so it'll be available to them. But if people want to reach out to you, like what I'm motivated. I'm like, Maleka, I want to help out. What do I do? What would you say to them?
Contact me. Call me 562. I just want to see if my phone will ever be to a point where I need to change the number. 562. No, seriously, just get involved. Yeah. There are so many things. We need e-mentors. If you guys are somewhere else in the world and you want to support a young person or you want to get involved with what we're doing, reach out to us. Check us out on social media. We always need money, so we have donation page. I got Cash App, Venmo, all of the direct checks, anything you want to do. But there's a lot of ways you can help. If you doing something spectacular on another side of the world, send us a video. Let me show the kids what you're doing, what you're into, how you can motivate them. There's a lot of ways. We have e-mentors. You can email or you can get involved with kids like that. But the most thing is just care. And if you are somewhere far, get active in your backyard. Really, help the kids around you. Get out there. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need to be famous. You don't need to have a big space. 1 or 2 kids to just believe in them. That'll be great.
That's great advice too. It's like start in your own backyard.
Yeah.
Start at home like you did. That's exactly where you started, right at home with your own.
Yeah, I could have tried to wait until somebody gave me a big building or a big grant in order to do big things, but every little bit helps.
Absolutely.
Every little bit helps.
Wow, so impressed. I am so glad that you came and spent time with us today because you're inspiring. You really are. What you're doing is really tremendous.
Tense than I thought. You guys are very cool.
Well, congratulations on stepping out of your box and out of your comfort zone.
Yes, thank you.